You guys, Hakeem Herring here, your real estate partner. I want to remind you guys to tune in every Sunday to the Speak Your Mind podcast with Ali's, giving great information, tools, and knowledge, giving it away for free to the community. You do not want to miss it every Sunday. Very informative. Tune in, tune in, tune in. I see you there. You guys, Hakeem Herring here, your real estate partner. I want to remind you guys to tune in every Sunday to the Speak Your Mind podcast with Ali's, giving great information, tools, and knowledge, giving it away for free to the community. You do not want to miss it every Sunday. Very informative. Tune in, tune in, tune in. I see you there. You guys, Hakeem Herring here, your real estate partner. I want to remind you guys to tune in every Sunday to the Speak Your Mind podcast with Ali's, giving great information, tools, and knowledge, giving it away for free to the community. You do not want to miss it every Sunday. Very informative. Tune in, tune in, tune in. I see you there.
Honorable Court, Honorable Court, Honorable Court.
Peace. Brought to you by Iron Phenomenal Unlimited. This is the Speak Your Mind podcast, hosted by the Queen, Shanice Gatewood Ali, and the God, I Be. Speak Your Mind, an open line podcast, delves into the week's current events, trending topics, and the social issues that affect Black people in America. Peace, peace.
Peace.
Then we in the building. Peace, peace. As you know, welcome to the Speak Your Mind podcast with the Ali's, right? It's me, the God I Be, and the beautiful Miss Shanice Gatewood Ali, the co-host to this podcast. As the intro told you, the Speak Your Mind podcast is dealing with community affairs, cultural events, and everything affecting Black people in America. So today's math is 10-10-2021. That's knowledge cipher, all being born to knowledge, right? When you bring knowledge to the cipher, it should add on to the cipher so that the cipher continues to retain that knowledge, right? Which we start again at knowledge again because it's time to do the process all over. So when we go through the cycle of supreme mathematics, we're constantly gaining knowledge and bringing it into the community, the person, the system, so that we can add on and elevate as opposed to take away from our communities. So with that, I say peace and peace to the Queen.
Peace, King. How you doing?
I'm all right. What's
That's
good with
good.
you?
That's good. Doing good. Well, my purple, my army suit up outfit today because this is how I feel when it come down to October. October is domestic violence month, and the color for domestic violence is purple. So every day we're fighting this stuff that's going on. Like, it's community violence, it's domestic violence, it's mental health, it's so many things that's affecting our people, especially our women, when it come down to DV. And once again, men go through it as well, but men do not speak on it as much as women does. So I want to say peace to everybody and thank you for tuning in today.
So, question: Why did they choose October as Domestic Violence Awareness Month? I never knew that.
Well, if you come to my class, you would get the information.
That's what's up. That's what's up. I know since I know you, you've always been active during Domestic Violence Awareness Month. But one thing that you always spoke about was the fact that domestic violence happens 365 days of a year, and it cannot be limited to just this month. This just is a month that people
Absolutely.
increase awareness about it. But we want to speak about these issues all throughout the year so that people have awareness of these issues.
Absolutely. We also have, um, it's so crazy. Every month there is some type of awareness. I remember somebody had sent it to me, and I was like, "Oh my goodness, I did not know that." Orange is bullying, and I know we're going to speak on a couple of things on bullying. And if I'm not mistaken, that's in June. So if I'm wrong, please somebody correct me who's out there. But I do believe June is Orange Bullying a month and color. Like I said, with October for domestic violence, the purple, I run classes about it. So if anybody would like to learn some information about domestic violence, the different types, the signs, and so on and so forth, they can definitely come to my class. Also, Friday nights, I do tea time with Mrs. Ali, and I will
Mm.
be giving a couple of pointers on that as well.
That's peace. So today we have a very special guest. This brother right here is gonna give y'all some great information, but you could just learn from listening to his story, right? This brother has come from, he come from adverse events in his life that affected him, tremendously, but he overcame those events to the person that he is today. He is an executive. This is my brother, Prince Rondu, right? AKA Thaddeus Canty. He's gonna come here today and talk about a rent relief program that he is outreaching for with his job. But before we get to that, we just wanted to talk about a couple current events before we introduced our guests and share these current events with you. See what your insight is, what your thoughts on a couple things that we picked out to talk about today. The first event was in the news heavy this week. Um, it speaks to a lot of different factors that we're facing in the community when we're dealing with bullying, we're dealing with violence, we're dealing with the school system. It's just a bunch of things going on in this story, and I just wanted to briefly touch on the topic. So this article is in the Grio.com. It's it's by Dr. Shamar Charles. It's an opinion piece. And the title of the article is Texas Shootings Highlight Complexity of Race, Bullying, and Mental Health. It's an opinion piece, as I said. It says even if mental health could add context to a devastating situation, that avenue is rarely explored when black boys and men are involved. And this is from October 8th. And it says, according to Arlington Police Chief Kevin Colby in a Wednesday afternoon news conference, the violent attack stemmed from a fight caught on video that broke out in a classroom. Sources close to the case say that a robbery may have preceded the events leading to the dispute. What's more, the mother of the alleged gunman, Timothy Simpkins, who ultimately turned himself in, said the 18-year-old was bullied and robbed at least twice. So new details of the recent shooting that left 4 people injured in Timberview High School in Arlington, Texas, reveal that bullying may have triggered the tragic event. I don't know what's wrong with my speech today. But while the identity of the people in the video have yet to been confirmed, the entire ordeal leaves us to wonder if poor mental health as a consequence of persistent bullying played any role in the sad story. The impacts of bullying on mental health. School shootings have become all too common. Since 2018, there have been 18 school shootings, with the COVID pandemic serving as a main factor for the interruption of the growing trend. Oftentimes, mental health is at the center of these tragedies, but its relevance has come into question. Bullying is one of the most pervasive forms of school violence, affecting 1 in 3 young people. Research suggests that children and youth who are frequently bullied are more likely than those not bullied to experience depression, anxiety, and low self-esteem. They also are more likely to feel like an outsider at the school and want to avoid school, which affects academic performance. Bullying is also associated with lower rates of self-reported life satisfaction and higher rates of smoking, substance abuse, and feeling suicidal. So what's your thoughts on this, Queen, right here?
So I do have a couple of things that I want to speak on. When it come down to uh, a color person doing something, the picture comes up right away, the name comes up right away. But when it come down to other people who actually shot or did a couple of shootings in the school system, we are guessing who it is. Who would do this? And I'm sure they go through bullying, and I'm sure they have mental disorders as well. However, it's not spoken of until it come down to one of our color brothers or sisters, right? Now, we was watching the video before we actually came on, and we saw how some young man was beating up that young brother who pulled the gun out on the other individual later on after he got beat up. I do want to say, when it comes down to bullying, I've been bullied. I've been bullied, and I felt like I had to protect myself at any means necessary. Can you still hear me?
Yes.
Okay. And I felt like I had to protect myself at any means necessary. So when it comes down to bullying and people talking down to you, disrespecting you, making you feel certain way about yourself, it does start to mess with your psyche. And this is why we took up the class mental health first aid with Thrive NYC. A lot of people would say that Thrive NYC did not do what it's supposed to do, or the classes wasn't what it's supposed to be. But I tell you one thing: they give you a booklet. Thrive NYC give you a booklet, and it's always, as you can see, our booklet is kind of bent up because every now and then we have to refer back to it. And it speaks on the different types of mental disorders. Taking up the class helped us see and understand what to say, what to look for, and what to do if somebody is in a they're not in their own right state of mind, because it shows in the face and their eyes and things of that nature. This young man probably was told, do what you got to do from whoever. It don't necessarily have to be the parents, but somebody probably said to him, do what you have to do, because he was being bullied in school. They really need to calm down on bullying. And I don't mean just in the school systems or on the court system or in the street system, in the streets, they need to really come crack down on bullying with the government as well, because we're being bullied every day. Let's
Yeah,
be honest.
I agree with
So with
you.
that being said, this young man turned himself in. um I guess that's a good thing. I'm sure it's a good thing, because then it would be a warrant against him, and then it would be worse for his arrest. It might go to another level. I'm happy to see him walking out of the jail cell. So with that, I do want to say, if he have mental disorders, I hope he get the help that he needs to get to make him be a productive young man when he get older.
Well, one of the things that stuck out to me about what his parents were saying when they did the press conference is that he has a lot of things that people in his class most likely didn't have. Like, he had all of the best clothes, he had a car, he had this, and they felt that he was getting bullied because of the things that he had. So my thing is this, right? My generation, we spoiled the world out of these children because we wanted them to have everything that we didn't have. However,
Mm-hmm.
we also got to teach them to be able to protect those things in a civil way, right? Because all they're getting as examples is, go get your gun. That's what the
Right.
videos are saying. That's what the movies are saying. Whatever they're saying, go get your gun and do this. And the video games too is go get your gun.
Yep.
So us as parents, we definitely got to tell our children when we get them all of these items how to protect themselves. If they got to shoot five with somebody, shoot five, or basically fight somebody hand to hand. Okay, I understand that, but to take a gun and just shoot up the classroom, it's something is not connecting right here, because that's an
Mm-hmm.
extreme fit of violence. But to be honest with you, the kid, I think they were fighting, but it didn't look like the kid was fighting back.
Right.
So I guess he
Right.
was being bullied.
Right. So they said one of the things for mental health problems, they named a couple. So it said mental health problems, mental disorder, serious emotional disorder, extreme emotional distress.
Mm,
So who knows how long he's been getting bullied.
right.
And he probably was just taking it in and taking it in. And then he probably spoke to some of his people, because he got the gun from somewhere. Now, if the gun was from home, now the parent, if it's true, I'm not throwing these allegations out there, but if the child got the gun from home, then the first thing they're going to do is go after the parent and not solve the issue. The issue is, one, bullying, and two, this child took it to extreme measures to protect itself.
Right. So the next article I wanted to talk about is something that has been all over the media. I know you probably came across it because many outlets have spoken about it, but we just wanted to touch on it real quick because we I kind of don't like what's going on when it comes to this cancel culture situation. And I feel like, in my mind, I don't understand how outsiders can cancel people within our community, and we allow that to happen without, stepping up to the plate for people that's part of our community. So this is in
Hmm.
Yahoo Entertainment, and it says Dave Chappelle defended by family of late friend following comments about the trans community. And it's by Caitlin Riley, and it was published on Saturday, October 9th, right? So it says the family of a late friend of Dave Chappelle is defending the comedian following controversial comments he made about the trans community in his most recent Netflix special, The Closer. Daphne Dorman, a trans woman and fellow comedian who lived in the San Francisco area, struck up a friendship with the Chappelle Show alum prior to her death by suicide in 2019. Dorman was referenced in Chappelle's 2019 Netflix special for having defended him following previous comments he made about the trans community. Dorman's sister shared their support for Chappelle to the Daily Beast. Over text, Dorman's sister Becky wrote in the outlet, Daphne was in awe of Dave's graciousness. She did not find his jokes crude, rude, off-coloring, off-putting, anything. She thought his jokes were funny. Daphne understood humor and comedy. She was not offended. Why would her family be offended? Dorman's sister Brandy agreed with the statement and called Chappelle an LGBTQ ally. Following the release of the Netflix special earlier this week, Chappelle received criticism from the trans community as well as social media at large after he made jokes about the so-called cancellation of Harry Potter author J.K. Rowling, who was labeled a TERF, a trans exclusionary radical feminist, following multiple comments she made about gender on Twitter. So, anyway, long story short, what I want to say is this, right? In this special, our brother Dave Chappelle was speaking about a brother that got canceled for comments that he said. And he spoke about the different ramifications of people canceling people and actually spoke about a trans woman that he had opened up for him at a comedy show and that she was shamed so bad that she wound up killing herself. However, after coming out with this special and the things that he said, which were all in comedy, they wanted to do the same thing to him and cancel him.
Mm-hmm.
So that's extreme irony right there. So what you think of that?
I have a lot to say. First of all, Dave Chappelle been himself from the back in the early 90s maybe. I don't know exactly, but I've been watching Dave Chappelle for a very long time. Dave Chappelle snap. We was just watching when he was doing R. Kelly. You know, Dave Chappelle is a comedian. That's it. He brought up at that particular show, what was it? The Closure. He brought up all type of people. And for some reason it seemed like this particular culture, once again, we don't care what you do, how you do it, who you do. It does not matter. But it seemed like it's a sensitive subject when it come down to this particular race of people. I'm going to say race of people because it seemed like they just trying to grow their own thing. And at the end of the day, like he snapped on everybody. Like, have you ever been snapped before? Like, snap is when, you know, somebody's cracking jokes on you, cracking jokes on your clothes, cracking jokes on your sneakers, your hair, you know, how you look. It's all comedy. Now, the only people that took it to another level is those who were really emotionally affected, you know, like it really affected them so emotionally that they had to come out and want to kill somebody or want to beat them up or whatever the case might be. Dave Chappelle at this particular show did not leave nobody out. And me personally, I cannot stand the word bitch, right? But he said it, right? But guess what? I'm not a bitch. So until he say, Miss Ali, you are a, then that's something different. Now you attacking me personally, right? But now you just want to cancel this man. You don't know who he feeding, who who's on the outside of his household he's feeding. Nobody knows anything because Dave Chappelle is not going to speak on that. But at the end of the day, why you just want to cancel somebody because of your emotional, you got emotionally attached or to this joke is ridiculous. Like, I mean, laugh. He in the message, I believe that this was talking about a friend. This whole segment that he spoke on was about a friend who killed their self. Because if you think about it, he kept going that direction, but it was that direction was leading up to how he ended it. Okay, he ended by letting everybody know, by y'all bullying people, by y'all want to cancel people, by y'all want to destroy somebody's livelihood can ultimately make somebody want to kill themselves because they're not that type of person that you're trying to put them out to be. For word in a newspaper, they wrote down everything this man has said and not understanding the message. The message was there. The message was letting everybody know that don't do this, but you could do this. You know, you can't say this, but you could say that. And when they spoke about black people or the B word, they cracked up and laughed. Ha ha ha. Everybody cracking up laughing. When it came down to that one particular race, the laughter kind of went down some, if you notice. It didn't go as high. It wasn't as high as when they spoke about black bees and all these other stuff. It started going down when they started talking about this one particular race. So at the end of the day, what are we doing? You know, are you more powerful than someone who birthed you? I mean, what are we doing here? I'm not
Right.
getting it. I don't understand what's going on. There something we need to get control back in some kind of way. So y'all want to do cancel culture? Let's grow our culture. Let's start being with one and under. This is what they trying to do. This is all of us going to come together and start writing letters. And no, it's not going to happen. Dave Chappelle is a comedian. He's not a comedian who's going to fold. He wasn't one of them comedians that put on a dress. He's not one of the comedians that's going to take your money and y'all going to tell him what to do. He's not that type of comedian. He's a comedian that's going to make people laugh, and if you laugh, you laugh. If you don't, you don't. Guess what? He still got paid.
Right. You know what's
And
crazy?
that's it.
One thing about him that I like, though, he said, listen, I like being canceled. To paraphrase, basically, he's like, yo, listen, I'm happy y'all canceled me. I'm not worried about that. He said, I'm the person who did not take $50 million and just walked away. So it's not you canceling me. I've been canceled before. I'm not really worried about that. And one thing that I think is really significant about that is that this current generation puts a lot of merit in this social media thing, right?
Mm-hmm.
They'll say we're going to cancel you. They're canceling people on social media. You think people don't have lives outside of social media? They can just cut this joint off. Like my brother Prince, when he come on, he'll tell you he don't even deal with social media. It's been times he cut his whole profile off. And he goes about his business. And he's an executive. So you think he's really worried about social media? Hey, listen, I seen a lot of people was just frozen. They didn't know what to do earlier this week when Facebook and Instagram and all of that stuff shut down. They was just frozen. They was like, oh my God, the world is over. Like Armageddon has come just because the social media was shut down. But what was we doing before Facebook was even here? We wasn't even thinking about Facebook. Less than a decade ago, there was no such thing as Facebook. No such thing as Instagram, no such thing as none of that stuff, and we were still doing our business. But now we put all of this merit in these social media platforms and people saying that they could cancel us and so forth and so on. But we ain't gonna belabor that too much. I just wanted to touch on one last subject before we bring on our guest, and this should segue into what our guest is gonna talk about today. Now, this is very interesting right here. This right here was in the Amsterdam News, and it speaks to a topic many of us know about, but I don't think has been revisited enough, right? And this was in the Amsterdam News on August 25th, and it says the secret bias hidden in mortgage approval algorithms by Emmanuel Martinez and Lauren Kirshner from the Markup, right? So in this article, it says that it gives a story of a couple, this couple right here. And it says the new 4-bedroom house in Charlotte, North Carolina was Crystal Marie and Escaias McDaniel's personal American dream. The reason they had moved to the southern town from pricey Los Angeles a few years ago. A lush long lawn, 2,700 square feet of living space, a neighborhood pool and playground for their son Nazret, all for $375,000. Pre-qualifying for the mortgage was a breeze. They said they had saved much more than they would need for a down payment, have very good credit, scores 805 and 725, and earned roughly six figures each. She in marketing at a utility company, and a Sky is representing a pharmaceutical company. The monthly mortgage payment was less than they paid for rent in Los Angeles for years. They were scheduled to sign the mortgage documents August 23rd, 2019, a Friday, and was so excited to move in, they booked movers for the same day. The Wednesday before the big day, the loan officer called Crystal Marie and everything changed. She said the deal wasn't going to close. The loan officer told the couple he had submitted the application internally to the underwriting department for approval a dozen, 15, maybe 17 times, getting a no each time. The couple had spent $6,000 in fees and deposits, all non-refundable. It seems like it was getting rejected by an algorithm, she said, and then there was a person who could step in to decide to override that or not. She was told she didn't qualify because she was a contractor, not a full-time employee, even though her boss told the lender she was not at risk of losing her job. Her co-workers were contractors too, and they had mortgages. Crystal Marie's co-workers are white. She and Escaias are black. So basically what this article is alleging is that when we go and apply for mortgages and mortgage loans and go to
Mm-hmm.
a new house, the mortgage lenders are treating black people and other people of color with bias, and they're denying
Mm-hmm.
loans and denying the closing for them for reasons that they wouldn't deny it for people who make less money of another race. So a lot of times we might be coming from a rental property or living on and on indefinite rent, paying money for rent. But this property right here was less money than this couple was paying for rent, and it was a mortgage for something that they would eventually own. But they were being denied the mortgage and to close on the home because of various factors in the algorithm, and they attribute it to race.
Hmm.
What's your thoughts on that?
I have to breathe. I just get so tired of us being treated so less than. We have watched so many documentaries, and they always mention that they don't see us as human beings. They would just give us, the worst of the worst um, areas, or the land, or the ground, or something like that is really jacked up. We are thinking we purchasing a house and leave something behind for our children, but Lord and behold, it's the worst neighborhood, the worst land, so that way when it rains, it is mess flooding up our place. We really, really have to start paying attention and keep our eyes and ears open for these type of topics and conversations. um what I feel about that is so hurtful. And then, you and I was looking for a place, and they have all these HOAs, and so we paying the mortgage, and then on top of that, a HOA fee on top of that as well. And this was in a regular building. Well, it wasn't a regular building, it was a condominium, was it?
Yeah, condo.
Right. And at the end of the day, what? Like, just because it have an elevator, just because it has a door person. Okay, at the end of the day, it wasn't the best place.
Right.
And you want me to pay all of this?
Right.
Like, come on.
It was
So
funny because the mortgage was less
it
than
was
the
less than
HOA.
HOA. Exactly.
So I spoke
Exactly.
about that, and she said that's basically a way that they keep people from moving in these areas because they know that the income level is at a certain level, and they know that people are moving from the city to get to the suburbs or right outside the outskirts of the city. So what they do is they make the fees, the HOA fees, higher than actually living right here. So where you gonna go? You might as well stay here.
Stay right where you at. And it's aggravating. It makes you feel like, you know, not to mention if you everything going up besides our pay. You know, so it's like you got to go out here and work two jobs. You and your, you know, your partner, y'all got to work two jobs each in order for y'all to get into a better condition, you know, place or whatever have you. That's why a lot of people are going through these rent issues right now, especially at the time of the pandemic. A lot of things was jacked up with people rent. People would say, listen, I would rather go buy me some food and stuff and deal with the rent part later. There's programs out there for rent, and people, a lot of our people do not know that. You know, I work in a shelter and I'm the least of compliance, and I see that a lot of the people owe $1,300, 13, not 1,300, $13,000, and I'm like, how are they going to pay this? You know, so there's agencies that's out there. This is why we have someone on today who's going to speak on that, who's going to give us the information, and and I want to say we're not just doing this for our health. We want people to be educated on these type of programs that's out there, because the first thing people will say is, I did not know. No, you did know, because Speak Your Mind podcast is on with someone who works in the place, who's going to give you the details and the information.
Right. And it's like they set a lot of people up for a downfall in a way. I'm not with the conspiracy and all that, but I will say this, right? If you're gonna stop rental payments for the whole year, right, and not give assistance to the landlords, right? What is going to happen when the rental moratorium is stopped and all these rental arrears are in place, right? So you got people who did not have money in the first place that just basically ran up a crazy bill and are not able to pay that bill. Then you got landlords that have to pay money for the property in which the people are living in. So you put pressure on everybody on all levels. And what you want to do, give people $1,300, $1,400, that's not going to pay for all of that rent from all of this year and change. What's going to happen? Who's supposed to do that? So hopefully when my brother come on here, he's going to give us some clarity on these new programs. So I definitely want to introduce our guest so he can speak about some of the things that we're talking about today. So today we have a very special guest. This is my brother, Thaddeus Prince Rondu Canty. My brother, right, who came from the struggle, love hella right, as he always taught. He said, you got to have enough love for yourself to go through hell to come out right. That's one of my favorite bills from the God, because he talked about how we went through the struggles as a youth, was incarcerated for long periods of time, and turned our lives around, right? So this brother, during his time incarcerated, was able to get an associate's degree from Bard College in 2014. When he came home in 2016, he went back and got a bachelor's degree in organizational management from Nyack College. In 2017, he got his KSAT from the Oasis organization in New York State.
Take the picture off.
In 2019, he was honored by the International Lions Club and received 8 awards from the city, state, and federal politicians for outstanding community service. And in 2020, this brother graduated with his master's in public administration, right? This brother right here, man, is truly inspiring to me, because I have seen him stay the struggle since he came home. He came home a few months before me. He got involved in the work. He was working at what's the name of this place? Anyway, he gonna tell you the name of the place he was working for. But he had jobs. He had jobs since he's been home. This brother's been working 2 and 3 jobs. I don't know how he did it. 2 and 3 jobs, and went to college and graduated with honors. And then during the pandemic, we were able to partner up together with our other brother as well and start MADGE, which is Mentors Against Drugs and Guns Through Experience. This brother right here has also started as a coordinator for the Next Steps Brownsville program, where he mentored the youth, and now he has moved up in the RiseBoro organization to be the assistant director of outreach and programs. And he's here today to tell you about a program in which they work with housing crisis issues. So without further ado, I want to introduce my brother, my man 50 Grand. This brother right here is a rising star in the New York area. So everybody salute my brother, Thaddeus Prince.
Oh man. Peace. Can y'all hear
Peace.
me?
Yeah, we
Yes.
hear
Hear
you,
me
man.
good?
Loud and clear, loud
All
and
right,
clear.
all right.
Welcome to the
That's
Speak
peace.
Your
That's
Mind
peace.
podcast with the Ali's. This right here, we definitely want to give you your flowers because we see the hard work that you've been doing all these years. You was the best man in my wedding. You are my brother.
Yeah.
Man, how do you stay focused? Let's start there. How do you stay focused?
Man, just keeping it all in perspective, man, and just never forgetting, man. I don't forget where I came from. I stay humble, but I know I gotta keep pushing on because there's more work that I gotta do. There's more work that needs to be done in the community. And sometimes when I feel like I'm getting a little overwhelmed, I may take a step back. You know what I'm saying, and just gather my thoughts and gather everything that I want to do moving forward, and just understanding that without struggle, there's no progress, man. You can't expect to progress if you don't expect to struggle. They're dual. Like you can't separate it. You know what I'm saying? So my thing is,
Absolutely.
like I always say, like you gotta embrace the struggle. Whatever it is,
Hmm.
whatever you going through, it's most important to embrace the struggle, because when we run from the struggle and we try to just get around it and make moves to circumvent the struggle, it just gets deeper. You know what I'm saying? And so you got to have that fortitude and that just that awareness to just know that I'm gonna keep pushing, and definitely better options is gonna come up, that's going to allow us to continue to excel. you know
That's right.
yes,
That's
You
most
looking
peace.
young,
definitely.
man. You still looking young, brother.
I know, man. I bumped into a brother that we was incarcerated years ago. I bumped him and he was like, "Yo, Prince, man." He's like, "How do you not age?" He said, "You look the same from 15 years ago." And I said, I'm blessed. You know what I'm saying? I'm blessed, man. I just try to, even though with all my running around, I don't eat like I supposed to. I don't even know how I stay looking like this. I don't eat like I supposed to. I don't rest like I supposed to. I always constantly got something on my mind, but I don't know. I guess it's in the genes, man. My mama's 80, 81 years old, man. No, 80, 82. My mother's
Ooh.
82 years old,
Okay.
man. My mom's look like she's 60 years old, man.
Yeah, she do look good. She does.
Yeah,
Well, don't get me
definitely.
started on this eating thing, because we a lot of us are not eating good right now, but we
I don't
have to
eat good
eat
at
better
all.
because the issues that we're facing right now with this pandemic, a lot of them are caused by self-imposed conditions, right?
Mm-hmm.
Because of the way we eat, our lack of exercise that cause these underlying conditions like diabetes and hypertension. A lot of those conditions are caused by lifestyle. But we're not going to talk about that today. We're not going to talk
Yeah,
about that today. Right now, we on a mission to
we on the
speak about
housing
this
thing.
program. So
All
let's
right.
start with this though.
But hold on, first before you go on, brother, I just wanted to touch on what y'all was talking about with the bullying, right?
Okay.
And we all know, understand that I feel that bullying directly contributes to domestic violence. You know what I'm saying? Because you have a lot of individuals that's in these families and stuff like that. They don't really lash out the way they want to those outside in the community and all of that. But a lot of times they take that anger and frustration that they dealing with in school or in the streets with peer pressure and stuff like that, being bullied to do things that they don't want to do, and they come back and they bring that home and they give it to their family. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
And that just, is a direct contributor to domestic violence and the mental health and well-being of not only that person but to the family also. So I think those things are pretty much intertwined. And also
Of
about
course.
about the city, like, the vaccine mandate and all that. Like right now they bullying us. They bullying the city, they bullying the community. If you don't do this, you don't take this, you ain't gonna be able to do that, you ain't gonna be able to, and put some people in a position where, I mean, they don't have no choice. It's either I do this or I lose my life. And so, that's all definitely a form of bullying. And
Absolutely.
you know, and in regards to the whole the bias in the mortgage lending process, just bottom line is systemic oppression. It's
Right.
still systemic impression. Sadly, they don't want to see us rise to the ability where we can be able to own homes and maybe group up in communities where it's nothing but a black people and grow our own schools, our own daycares, and our whole, so they don't want to have a whole repeat of Black Wall Street. You know what I'm saying? So
Exactly.
they they just gonna keep
Exactly.
us. They gonna keep they quote unquote foot on our necks. They try to bury us.
Exactly.
But
Ain't that some?
yeah,
Well, you know what? I'm so happy. Peace to you, brother. Thank you
peace.
for coming on again.
No problem.
I do want to say, when you mentioned the bullying aspect, when I was doing these bullying conversations with our fifth graders in the school, and I started learning so much and reading up on so much, I definitely tied the two together. Bullying is the baby of domestic violence. So I thank you for pointing that out. Definitely is so true. And with the whole stuff that's going on with the government or whatever have you, it's going to take a toll on people mental health, because if those who don't want to do X, Y, and Z, then a lot of more killing is going to happen. You know what I'm saying? Because somebody just got stabbed just the other day at Apple, a security guard at Apple company or business or store. A dude said, "Put your mask on," and the guy stabbed him. But
Mm,
this is the rules. I don't understand why we even getting to that point when this is the rules. They are telling everybody you got to put on a mask at these places, but now people are just reacting. I forgot where the young ladies was at, but they was wilding out there at the restaurant because somebody said put the mask on. So I don't understand what's going on. It's going to get worse before it can get better. And I just need us to understand that we need to put down certain things and just rise above all of this in some kind of way. So, with that, I want to give it back to you.
Yeah.
Thank you
But
so
check
much
this
for
out.
bringing that up.
On that though,
okay,
real
brother.
quick. And y'all done got the juices started down. The things that you have been saying as I went through school, I basically was doing a lot of research, and one of the things that came up was the ACE study, right? According to the ACE study, right, which is basically ACE stands for adverse childhood events, right?
Mm,
And they're saying adverse childhood events are things like going through parents going through divorce, uh, growing up in poverty, having domestic violence in the household, a parent maybe using drugs, or having the loss of a family member. All of these different events, right? They say that they have an adverse effect when the child grows up, and that the more of these events that they have in their life, the more likely it is that they may start using drugs, they may go to jail, they may end up committing some of the same things that they basically saw growing up. So, with that being
mm-hmm.
said, on a more grander level, we all have been through various levels of trauma in the last year, right? So now that people are coming outside and you have all of these restrictions, some people are going into places and they are fed up, right? So as people say, unhinged, it's like, okay, Now I'm coming in the store and you want to tell me to put a mask on. You want to tell me, you want to ask me if I'm vaccinated. You want to do all of this stuff. I just lost my mother. My family died from an opioid crisis. It's just all of this different stuff that has gone on. And I don't want to hear it right now. And if you don't get out my face, I'm going to hurt you.
And that's where they at.
So that's where a lot of people is at with it. It's unfortunate, but this is what I see. But we're not going to leave that point too much, right? So I wanted to start off with you, my brother, because this is about you, celebrating you and getting some information about you as far as this program. So the first thing we wanted to touch on is, where are you originally from, and what was it like coming up in your area where you was from?
Oh well, yeah, I'm from Brooklyn. I grew up in Barinkin houses, just right adjacent to Bushwick houses, down in section of Williamsburg, Brooklyn, and basically coming up for me, I came up in the '80s. In the '80s, I saw a lot. It was like high crime, high poverty, a lot of bullying, a lot of peer pressure, you know, and just everything just it was a nice area, what I'm saying, as far as, to grow up in, but it was just the circumstances and the environment of what was happening, just, just made it rough living up, growing up up in Brooklyn in that area.
I know that so well. I have lived in some of the somewhat rough areas in Harlem. And I will survive, like
That's right.
that type of thing. I do want to ask you, like, we all have gone through, like I mentioned, the trauma aspect and going through, uh, incarceration, imprisonment, and all of that, and the areas and the people, and we all come out and start doing something for our community. Like, I've been a social worker, case manager forever years. I want to get out of it now. I'm so sick of this. But what made you get into social work, though?
Just the need to want to give back. It just all like derived from incarcerated, this last stint that I was in prison, where I served 11 years. I mean, like, into my like sixth year, I just noticed, like, faces of the population, the prison population, the faces were just younger and younger. These young people, they coming in, they got a whole bunch of time, and the stories, the prevailing stories behind it, just really didn't make any sense. You know what I'm saying? And so, I just felt the need that it was our responsibility. With the Nation of God's and Earth, we teach that, our duty is to civilize those who are uncivilized. You know what I'm saying? And it is our duty to go out and make sure that, we, share our experiences and our knowledge in order to make a difference in those who's coming up behind us. So, for first portions of my incarceration, I just still was basically doing the same type of stuff that I was doing in the street on a lower level, but really had nothing on my mind until, light just came on, and and this is literally, I tell this story all the time, but it's literally a true story where, I was in my cell one day and I got up and I'm brushing my teeth and I look up in the mirror and I was totally disgusted with the person that was looking. I said, I can't stand that man that was looking back at me. So, I said, in order to, if I go out with this same mindset, that I'm eventually come back to prison forever, or I'm a die in the street somewhere. So, I just made it my business to want to start, like, getting involved in social work, so I can give back to the community and just help our people try to overcome, give them the knowledge, what I'm saying, to overcome, some of the barriers and challenges that I face.
It's
Okay.
crazy. I remember when I came home, right? And before I went in, it seemed like we was always have to fill out an application and take it down to the place and hopefully get an interview and this, that, and the third. But all of that had changed, right? So I had to learn about Indeed.com and
All that.
ZipRecruiter and
Mm-hmm.
putting the resume together, going on the internet and sending it, because you'll walk up in a place and people will be like, yo, you have to go online. And you like, can I get an application? They're like, nah, you have to go online. And some people be crushed, right?
Yeah.
And then I must have put in 50 applications after application, no response, nothing ever. And a lot of people get discouraged with that. But I
Mm-hmm.
see that you stayed the course. And how did you first get your feet wet in the game of social work? Like, how did you first start with that?
Yeah, so when I came home, I went into a transitional house, a 3/4 transitional house called the Redemption Center. And the reason why I went into there, because I wanted to do something different. I could have came home to family and just, rested on my laurels with them, but I just wanted to do something different. And so they was telling me about the SEPS program where you can get housing vouchers and stuff like that. So when I went to the office to go apply, and the case manager who I was speaking with, I was just telling them my story and telling them what was going on with me, things that I had been through, and where I'm trying to go in life. And she was like, "Oh, that's pretty inspiring." She was like, "Yeah, you should tell your story to our organization. You should pitch that." And so she lined me up with the person who was like that public relations person, and I started volunteering, just coming out, working with her, like, showing up at events until when this position opened up, she seen the work that I was doing. I was working with Good Shepherds services prior to coming to RiseBoro. So I was with Good Shepherds, and I was, a part-time mentor, and she would come out and she just see the work that I was doing with the youth. And so when her organization got that program coordinator position, when they won the RFP from Department of Probation, they reached right out to me. They didn't even go for nobody else. They said, we didn't even post this. We came for you, because of what we heard. And that was it. As they say, the rest was history. I jumped
Mm-hmm.
into that and I just started, making them strides to.
Just to clarify, because you're very smart and you reach a level of business acumen. What is the RFP? Because people
Okay,
may
all
not
right,
know that. I know
all
somebody
right.
had.
So RFP is a request for proposal. So a lot of times when funders they have an idea of what a type of program that they want to start, they would send out to various organizations, or they would just make it public, public information that we are seeking a request for a proposal with regards to this program that we're trying to put out there. And so your organization or you personally or whatever can go through the RFP, which is a series of questions, and you have to answer the questions and align them to the goal that they're trying to reach with whatever they're trying to fund. So it's just a
Mm-hmm.
request for a proposal. So a funder would send out, all right, we're requesting proposals to see who best fit what we're trying to do and who can, they feel that can get the job done.
Mm-hmm.
Hmm.
Wow.
I know Mrs.
And with
Ali know a
that,
lot of proposals. Yeah,
Huh?
I said I know Mrs. Ali know a lot about proposals. Speak on that.
Yeah, yeah.
so with the request for proposal RFP, like the brother said, the question, answer the question is exactly. Don't add no extra.
That's right.
Don't they just want if they want what color is Mrs. Ali is wearing today? She's wearing a purple dress with da, and that's it. Don't add no extras. Don't give your personal opinion. Just answer the question for what they want is what you need to give them, and that's it. That is it. And your paperwork must be in place, because when that time comes, they're going to want to know if you got the paperwork in place. If not, they put your stuff to the side. So with that,
Yes.
I know that very well. So
Mhm.
with the great work that you're doing, we want to know, how did you get involved with RiseBoro Community Partnership. How did you get involved with that? Because like you
Well,
went from here, 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 here. Now you here. Like, are you gonna be there for a very long time? Like, what's your plans for that one?
yeah, so I basically just touched on a little bit of how I got involved with RiseBoro. I've been
Mm,
here for like 4.5 years now, and basically my whole involvement was geared toward that youth mentoring program. So, like I
mm,
said, always, wanting to see the need to give back to the community. I felt that that was a perfect way. And also within the community that I was designated to, reach out to, which is Brownsville, which is high poverty, low income, um, low
mhm,
employment rates, a lot of violence, just as there's a lot of
mm.
different barriers and challenges that they was facing. And and I just wanted to just continue pushing that through Riseboro. Riseboro gave me that opportunity. So, I stayed involved with them amidst many offers to leave and to go other places. I just felt that, my place was there because of the work that I was
Mm.
doing. I felt so meaningful.
So it tied in on what you're doing. So
Yes.
just make it okay. Just make it a better, a bigger and better you.
Right. And it tied into just gaining the experience and the knowledge that I needed to do my own thing with Madge.
Right.
There
So,
you go.
it just was all a stepping stone to helping out.
So before we get
That's
to
what's up.
match, tell us about this permanent relief program that your organization is running, because a lot of people need rental relief out here. A lot of
Right.
the people, I think that it's going to be a mass
Hmm.
eviction crisis going on out here in the next couple of
Yeah.
months.
Hmm.
So
Mm,
first of all, when you say relief program, Riseboro home based programs are not a quote unquote relief program because, and I'm gonna explain that
mm,
why is because you have ERAP and you have these other different rental assistance programs that are only temporary. They're only
mm-hmm,
temporary. They're gonna like this was put out because of all of the homeless eviction, homeless problems that was going on, eviction, prevention. But that's gonna end at some point. That's gonna end.
mm-hmm,
The difference with Riseboro's home-based programs is that they provide continuous, ongoing support. So it's not like a relief
Oh,
program was you come in and you owe $10,000 in back rent. Okay, here we pay you $10,000 rent. All right, see you later. Like no, we're gonna
mm-hmm.
help pay your rent, and then we're gonna continue to provide services to you long term, indefinitely, as long as you need us. So I mean that's the
Okay.
difference, and it's just to all those experiencing housing instability, due to COVID or due to any other housing crisis issues, we can step in and make sure that you're going to receive services now and you're going to continue to receive services ongoing.
So I want to ask, are you guys like home base? I used to work for home base a couple of years back, and home base is another agency that will also help you with your rent, and we will also guide you. Well, I say we.
Hmm.
The home base will also guide you with helping you with your financial, like if you get a certain amount of money, they will help you
Budgeted,
budget
right?
your money, right?
Financial
So that
counseling.
way, exactly. So that way you can make sure you're paying your rent because, like you said, a lot of these agencies and a lot of these programs will end one day, like maybe
Hmm.
all around the board. Who knows how our politicians will happen, years later. But uh, is Rosboro's like home base?
Yes. So yeah, we are homeboys. Riseboro has a
No.
home-based program.
Okay,
There's like
got it.
14 home-based providers all throughout the city from every borough.
Yes.
And
Mhm.
the difference with those services that we offer with it, we will offer you emergency rental assistance, but we
Mhm.
also will offer a service where you need workforce development. We'll help you like build up your resumes and try to connect you to certain jobs that's hiring and things like that. We
Nice.
do that in-house financial coaching. Um, if you need landlord tenant mediation, if you're in court, we have in-house staff attorneys that will come
Mm,
and represent you in court. We have seminars for tenants' rights, so these tenants can understand their rights. When you know landlords are trying to bully them, like what I'm saying, to put them out.
mm-hmm.
So they got to know their rights, and also other different community referrals for just continued support services. So yeah, that's
That's
that's the
dope.
difference with us. Yeah.
Okay. Would you be able to would you be able to give us like Manhattan and Bronx, or will people have to call your office to get the locations?
Yes, so it's public information. You can go on and
Mm-hmm.
look up RiseBoro home based services, and they will tell you which one in your borough, which zip codes are
Hmm.
covered.
Okay.
So particularly RiseBoro's home based program covers the 11222 zip code, 11211 zip code, 11221, 11206. 11237, 11249, 11251, and 11212. So it's like
Okay.
3, 5, 7, it's like 8 different zip codes across Brooklyn that we serve. And then you have the other
Great.
ones. You look in, so you got some in the Bronx, Queens, Staten Island, and it's all different services. So if you was to go on and you'll look it up, it'll tell you which zip codes that your home base provider is servicing.
Got it. Is that rosboro.com or
Um,
org?
it's riseboro.org. Yes,
Okay.
riseboro.org. So you can go
That's
on
for
their
the
site.
audience.
Yes, yeah,
Hmm.
Riseboro, RiseBoro.org. Yeah.
So not
Got
sure,
it.
not sure if you touched on this. I was tapping into some other people to get them in, but I wanted to know like how much classifies a person, how much rent arrears do they have to be eligible for the program?
So there is no limit. There's no minimum. There's no
Mm,
maximum. So if you owe $5,000 or $50,000, we can step in and we can help you out. So you don't need to have there's no framework. There's no beginning or end to how
mm-hmm.
much you have to owe in order to get services. So it's just
Mm-hmm.
wide open. Mhm.
Wow.
Okay. Also, real quick, you giving me back home base vibes. When some of my well, back then, some of my clients, when they worked, they had to come up with a portion. Is that also with Rosboro?
Excuse me. I'm
They
sorry. I
had to
didn't.
come up with a portion. Like if they work, they had to come up with their portion of the rent in order for them to
No.
meet you halfway. Or no, really?
No.
Okay.
Whatever you owe, we don't. If you're working, it doesn't matter. But there is some different. I've got some notes written down here. I just wanted to make sure I disseminate this information properly. So
Mm-hmm.
so there is some barriers to home base, to
Mm-hmm.
getting home based services, and that's so we got different services. We got what you call the emergency assistance for families, and that's
Mm-hmm.
households with income at or below 200% of the federal poverty level.
Mm.
Mm.
So the federal poverty level is it's the that's the amount that's earned annually by a family to which they be able to eligible to receive um any current welfare benefits or anything like that.
Wow.
Mm-hmm.
So there is a chart. I don't know if I can sign it out. Well, I can send it to you or whatever. But there's a
Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
chart
yeah.
which is also public information, which is you can go on, which is tells you the 2021 200% federal poverty level. and it goes according to the household size
Right.
and how
So,
much you make during that
so give
year.
us an example from one person to
10 people,
four. Yeah.
right?
Just tell us the different amounts from one person to four people.
Also, from one person, is $25,760. Two
Mm-hmm.
people is 38,840. Three people, 43,920. It goes all the way up to 10 people. If 10 people in your house whole and y'all combined annual income is $107,480, then you are at that federal poverty level where you can where you're not eligible for home-based services. You know what I'm
Right.
Got
saying?
it.
You're not eligible. So you have to be within a certain income bracket according to how
Mm-hmm.
many people live in your household, and that will determine whether did you get any services. So that's for the families, and then we also have what you call the emergency solutions grant. The emergency
Mm-hmm.
solutions grant is for families and single adults without any children, and they have to be at or below 30% of the area media income. So
Mm-hmm.
the area media income has also based on, like, if you're one person and you make $23,880, then you are at or below that number. So then you are eligible for home based services.
Got
Mm.
it.
So
Yeah,
so
at
that
or
Wow.
below.
the assistance grant, right? Could that be used for somebody that's like going through a crisis, like domestic violence or something like that?
I mean, sure, but it has to, all of these different factors have to go into it. So they
Mm-hmm.
got to be considered to be, because of domestic violence, be considered to be at risk of homelessness. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
Or, and as long as they meet the criteria of their area media income, which is the AMI, then they are able to, get assistance from
Got
Riseboro's
it.
home base
Wow.
program.
So what's the application process like?
So there's no application process for so you don't have to fill out no applications or anything. All you have to do is just contact them. You can reach out to 311, or you can
Mm-hmm.
access, the HRA website, and you can get these home-based services. Now, once you reach out to them and you give them your name, a number, whatever, they're gonna reach out to you, or you can call the hotline, and they're gonna reach out to you, and they're gonna ask you a series of questions, which is a risk assessment questionnaire for our ESG programs, and they see where at a certain score that you score,
Mm-hmm.
and once you fall within that range, then they'll go ahead and they'll they do that screening, that phone screening, and then they'll schedule for an appointment, and then you come in, and they tell you what type of documents that you need. So
Mm-hmm.
you're gonna need your ID, your social. You're gonna
Mm-hmm.
need a lease with your
Proof of
name on it.
income.
Right, proof of income, and at least that's saying that you're on it. And you got to have the rental arrears letter, with the letter from the
Mm-hmm.
landlord or the management company telling them, listen, you owe $8,000, this is and that, because you don't want people just walking in and be like, oh, well, I owe $15,000 when they only owe $10,000. You know what I'm saying? So that has to be proven, through a rental arrears letter received from the landlord or the management office.
Okay.
Mm.
hmm
Wow.
And
That's
so,
that's good. So if anybody's listening, please understand you have to go online, and it's no application. However, whoever you speak to is doing an intake, and they will be speaking, asking you a series amount of questions
hmm
that they're basically doing the application on their end, basically, and they will
right,
let you know if you are eligible, if you're not, and if you are, they will give you some
an
additional
appointment,
information, an appointment, and that's when you go to RiseBoro and meet
right.
someone there, your case manager, I guess,
hmm
from that point.
Everybody's
So,
assigned a case manager, yes.
hmm
And so, but they do have for those ineligible for home base. So if
hmm
you're over the income, and you don't meet none of those criteria to be eligible for home base, we have two other different programs that is also run by RiseBoro, which I'm overseeing, and that's what is called the Community Roots program. So
Mm-hmm.
Community Roots is for people ineligible for home base and who are under 50% of that area media income, and they at
Mm-hmm.
risk of being evicted. And
Mm-hmm.
that is not specific to any zip codes in Brooklyn.
Mm-hmm.
It's just specific to any areas. So you can be we serve in Bed-Stuy, Bushwick, East New York, Brownsville, Crown Heights, East Flatbush. So all of those areas, if you was to come to home base and they run, the numbers on you, everything, and be like, oh well, you're not eligible for home based services, but you can go to Community Roots, and Community Roots will offer you rental assistance and financial assistance, which is the rental assistance, case management, legal services, and other public benefits that you can get, such as one-shot deals and things like that. They will help you navigate your way through that.
One shot
Mm-hmm.
deal. Hold on. What's this one shot deal thing? Let's talk about that a little bit.
Yeah, so a one-shot deal is where you go through HRA, and it's just
Mm-hmm.
saying that I owe a certain amount of money right now, and I'm backed up. I owe $4,000. So I'm asking for $4,000 as a one shot deal. You give me my one shot deal so I can pay my rent. But the premise of that is that you have to show future ability to pay your rent in the future.
Mm.
Like,
Mm-hmm.
you know what I'm saying? So you come in, you got the documents, and when they were like, all right, we see most all of this stuff is because of COVID impacted people. Like, we know COVID has like just destroyed a lot of things. People done lost their jobs. It's a lot of different things that's going on with COVID. So if you're able to like show your pay stubs or whatever, and it's like, yeah, before COVID hit, like I was fine. I'm able to pay my rent, you know what I'm saying? But when COVID hit, there was just so many more expenses and this and that happened, whatever it is, then but I'm showing that, yeah, in the future I'll be able to pay my rent. I just got a little backed up and I need this one shot deal. And
Mm-hmm.
RiseBoro come in, they'll help you navigate through that process with you with HRA because we're HRA funded. Um, so
Mm-hmm.
we're directly linked with HRA, which is the Human Resources Administration.
Mm-hmm.
For those don't know what HRA is, and yeah, they work, hand in hand with them to try to secure you a one shot deal to get back on your feet.
Now, I want to know, even though I know this a little bit, the one shot deal. How many times can a person get a one shot deal?
Well, you only technically supposed to get it once a year,
Oh,
but you can apply for it year by year, but you're not likely to qualify for it if you can't prove the ability to keep paying your rent in the future. So you
right.
can't be like, oh, I'm gonna go here, I'm gonna get this one shot there, I'm gonna get this money, they're gonna pay that off for me. They pay that off for me.
Mm-hmm.
You handling your business. You get back. Then the next year, you come in and like, hey, I need another one shot deal. Like, nah, that's not gonna happen. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, and you don't.
I actually seen that happen.
Yeah, yeah. So you just gotta just
Oh,
show. Go ahead.
does the person have to pay this money back?
No, not
Did
from
you
home
answer that?
base. If you're connected with any services through home base, any rental arrears, any money, any assistance, you don't owe us nothing. You don't have to pay anything back. With
Mm.
HRA, I'm quite sure you don't have to pay anything back. You don't have to pay no money back from that. But also, I have heard instances where um you got the one shot deal, then later on you came into a whole bunch of money and you got and they looked at it and they was like, oh, well, remember you got this one
Mm-hmm.
shot deal from us. Now
Oh,
you up on top, you good.
yeah,
Let's
you
get
doing
that
real
back,
good.
and we need our money back.
Yeah,
You know what I'm
doing
saying?
real.
Right.
Yeah.
Get their money, man.
Yeah, yeah.
Right.
So I mean, I hope everybody is understanding right now, right? What my brother has just outlined is the fact that he has access to programs that are giving one-shot deals. They're also giving ongoing rental assistance. And if you don't qualify for one program, there's another program that you may qualify for. So there is
Right.
no reason why you should be sitting back, knowing that you have rental arrears and biting your fingernails and just waiting for, a mystery person in the sky to come and just drop some money in your lap, because these programs are
Yeah.
here for you.
And so, and yeah, and that's important. And also, a lot of things that we face out there in the community too is a lot of people shy away from these programs because they're undocumented. Immigration,
Mhm.
they scared of immigration, so they don't want to come and be
Mhm.
saying, "Oh, I'm gonna got a lot of undocumented people don't have social security numbers and stuff like that." But we also have a
Mhm.
program that addresses those individuals too. So if you undocumented, you
Ooh.
don't have no social security number, you a part-time worker, temporary worker, any of those things like that, and you don't have no documentation to say that you're a legal citizens of United States, you don't have to worry about those barriers, because none of those barriers is access to support for services. You can come. We ain't gonna ask you no more questions. You know what I'm saying? We just gonna give you the services that you need. That's going to, as long as you fit within certain guidelines, that's going to help you pay your rent. And I think that's big because a
Ooh.
lot of a lot of people out here, they, you know, we got a lot of people that's undocumented, and they not trying to
Mhm.
ruffle no feathers. That's gonna get ICE, which is, I don't remember the immigration, what,
ISIS, right? I
the
don't
ICE,
remember.
not
Oh.
ISIS, not ISIS.
ICE,
No,
Yo,
ice. Ice.
ICE. Well,
Immigration
it's
and
like the,
Customs Enforcement, I think. Immigration and Customs Enforcement. If I'm wrong, somebody correct
yeah,
me in the chat.
something
But I
like
think
that.
it's
Yeah,
Immigration and Customs Enforcement, something like that.
yeah. It used to be INS, or I think it's still IMS, Immigration Naturalization,
Service.
some, yeah, services. But yeah. So you don't have to worry about, oh damn, I'm gonna come to these people, I'm gonna tell them what's going on, this and that, and they're gonna report me to the authorities, and I might get snatched up and get deported. None of that. There's
Right.
this fat, and that's called the FASTN program, which is called our Project Parachute. So FASTN stands for
Mm.
Funds and Services for a Tenant's Experiencing Need. So, but
Oh.
this is like they give you one time or short term financial assistance. You know what I'm saying? That
Mhm.
may bridge your housing costs. You backed up in your utilities, rent and utilities and stuff like that. We'll come in and we'll pay that stuff off for you. But it's not something that's you can continue on and on and on and on. This is just to help undocumented people get back on the right track. You know what I'm saying?
That's a great thing because when I, worked in the shelter, I seen a lot of people, immigrants that was in the shelter, and it felt like we couldn't do too much for them. So that was a situation that kind of hurt my heart because they just there. We
Mhm.
can't move them out. So to hear that, and that's a highlight because they need to know that there's
Right.
assistance for them as well as immigrants.
Hmm.
I applaud you on that one. That's a big ups on
Yeah.
that. That's
Yeah.
dope.
And if they can show that they unable to pay their future rent, like, you know, we
Hmm.
still can get them services, and that none of that stuff bars them. So they can get the money
Oh,
and they
that's
can
good.
continue, get these services, and we'll help them navigate through all of the processes.
So I hope everybody is
Dope.
paying attention out there and ready to, and if they need these services, ready to reach out and to get these services that's provided for them. Don't put your head in the sand and have your butt still sticking out. If that's if
Yeah.
that's a politically correct
Because
term.
a lot of times, a lot of people are, what I get a lot of times, because I'm in contact with a lot of the management offices, and so I get in contact with the management office. They'll send me, you know, listen to rental arrears. You got some developments, housing developments, where it's like 60 to 65% of people that's in rental arrears in their developments. So a lot of
Mm,
times when we reach out to them, they really sometimes be reluctant to be forthcoming with stuff
mm-hmm.
because some people got egos. They don't like, oh, these people my business, like knowing I can't
Mm-hmm.
pay my rent and be like. But one thing is you got to do is like you can't have this here this prideful thing on this because it's not just you. There's millions of people that suffering from these different challenges. You know what I'm saying, to be able to stay afloat, especially during this pandemic that's going on. So the pandemic has drastically changed a whole lot of ways that
Mm,
people can make a living and to stay afloat. And that's why all of these
right,
programs are being, pushed out to help people stay afloat. So don't feel like,
right.
oh, I'm gonna be looked at in a certain way, this and that. To me, I mean, you're a name in the face, but my ultimate goal is just to help you secure what you need to be stable in your housing situation and make sure you and your kids is good, and, and y'all gonna continue to receive that assistance and support from us.
You know, it's so funny. There's a lot of people, social workers, case managers that actually need those services as well, and
Yeah.
a lot of us feel like we're too prideful to get that information, but or go get the resources. But I have heard so many different stories where we're out here helping others, and at home our home is messed up, so there it doesn't matter. Anybody who have any rental issues at home and they jacked up a year, two, or not a year or two, but a year, 2 months, 3 months, whatever it is, and you can't get your head above the water, go to these programs. Go to these
Yes.
programs. These programs are here for the people in the community that needs it. Because if what happens if you don't go to these programs is going to get like, what are they
Defunded.
there for? Yeah, they're going to get
Yeah.
defunded, and we're not going to have them anymore. Then you're like, oh wow, what happened to RiseBoro? What happened to home base? They no
Hmm.
more. That's because people are not using the services. So go out there and get them services and stop playing that you could do it yourself. Sometimes we can't.
That's right.
So I peace
You know
on
what's
that one.
crazy? The
Hmm.
crazy part is that, sometimes we want to be prideful about things, but was Morgan Stanley prideful? Was all these
Not at all.
multi-million
Nope.
dollar organizations, was they prideful when they went under? No.
Yeah.
They got that government
Nope.
assistance and now they back on top, right?
Yeah.
And
Hmm.
sometimes we sit here and say, oh, well, it's welfare or it's socialism and this, that, and the third. They look at it like that on the lower levels, but at the top levels, that's just the course of the day.
Hmm.
That's just
Right.
the course of the day when these banks and these mortgage crises and Fannie Mae and Freddie Mac people, I didn't even know who these people were until the mortgage crisis, right? They got bailed out and nobody was talking about,
Yeah.
oh, well, you're on welfare and your mama can't afford ice cream and all of this different stuff. They were, teasing them and bullying them about the situation, but they got
Yeah.
bailed out. So,
Fact.
Absolutely.
but just to
Wow.
Yeah.
move on,
So
we definitely want to touch on the last thing. Go ahead.
yes, yes, yes.
What's that?
So yeah, the
Oh.
last thing is talking about your organization that you're building, that we all are still building our organizations, but I heard
Hmm.
great things about Madge, and I would like to hear more, and I would love for everybody else to hear what is Madge and how did you come up with that idea?
Oh, so MADGE is the acronym for Mentors Against Drugs and Guns Through Experience. Um,
Mm-hmm.
I came up with that like I told you before, when I had made that conscious decision to make these transformative changes in my life.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I was thinking, my whole focus was the youth, and I wanted to reach out to the youth. So, I'm laying down in the cell in Greenhaven, and I just started thinking about what could be a good name that I can come up with. And I was like, Mentors Against Drugs and Guns Through Experience. Because just like, and this is before I even know anything about the credible messenger movement, I didn't know anything about this, but I came up with this idea that, most of us in here that's here incarcerated, we know we've been through this drugs and these guns and these gang lifestyles and all of these different things, that caused us to be in situations that, but who is more qualified than us to
Mm-hmm.
speak to those who are coming up behind us and, following in our footsteps, quote unquote. And so I just felt that it was important that we can provide wisdom based on our experiences to help send a message to those at-risk youth that was coming up, like this is not it, man. This is where you're gonna end up, or if you're here now and these are things you gotta change your mindset now. Walk into a new day with a new mindset,
Mm-hmm.
and you know, uh um just get something more positive on your mind, because like I said, there's better options that do exist out there from what we just normally see all the time, what we've been used to seeing
Right.
most of our lives, from pre-incarceration to incarceration to post-incarceration, we'll be coming back into these same neighborhoods that we left, and all the still things are still going on. So
Mm-hmm.
yeah, so I thought up that
Wow.
idea. The first thing I did was, I shot that out to my brother, and I'm like, yo, my brother, the God I be. And I'm like, yo, what you think about this, man? I think, it's just, and, he loved it. We formed a partnership. We jumped on it. And, even before these theories were put into application, we was working on them from the inside.
Mm-hmm.
So we would have these study groups. We would have, these meetings where we used to have brothers come down and we talk about it and unpack our ideas to, better understand how we gonna put this together and what is the best, most effective way to reach these youth and what type of programs we need, And so we just continually built upon this, and until I was released. He came home a few months after me, and it took us a little while to put everything together because no one understanding that we had to get our own personal lives situated. Things had to be situated for we was able to sustain ourselves economically, and with family, and all these other different issues. And so we was finally able to get it off the ground um last year, 2020. And
Yes.
you
Yes.
know, we still in a little, like, COVID has impacted us in a much in a way also, that because I think had COVID not hit and the momentum that we had going,
Mm-hmm.
like, we could have been up there right now and really doing our thing. But
Mm-hmm.
you know um but
Absolutely.
yeah.
From
It sounds like we got a call. I'm sorry, Prince.
press
So,
1. To send a voicemail, press 2.
Yeah, we got a caller. Caller, state your name and where you calling from. Caller, you there?
Hello,
Hello.
it's Maxie.
Hey,
Can
what's
you
up,
hear
Unc?
me?
We great. Talk to us, Unc. Hello? Are you still
I
there?
want to say
Oh.
to Prince Rondu that I thank him for his affirmation and most of all, his transformation. And he's doing great work on behalf of the community.
thank you.
But I will also say, Brother Prince, is that the information that you have to help people to help themselves, unfortunately, many of our people won't show up for their own rescue. As I tell my nephew, the God I be, I know people right now who need that information. And I tag them in the information to give them the information. As a former case manager, I know that if you give a man a fish, you feed him for the day. But if you teach him how to fish,
Teach them.
You
you
feed him for a
you
lifetime.
feed him for a lifetime.
That's right.
And so I know at some point, because I know our people, I'm from Harlem Liberation School, and sometimes our people, we don't stand up. We don't want to clean up and whatnot. But I know at some point, brother, somebody I know will be contacting me to get the same information that they could have gotten for themselves. I want to say again, as we say in the circle of brothers, that we need more brothers like you. And even though you're
Thank you.
not from Harlem, we need you because, brother, you have tools and resources, not just for the Brooklyn, but for all of New York
Oh.
City. And so I want to say peace, brother, and keep doing the work that you do. And
Thank you.
we shall be reaching out to you, and hopefully we would love to have you, if we haven't already, have you on Families United for Solution. Because, brother, you have brought a ton of solutions. And I thank you again, brother. Go in peace.
Thank you, sister. Can she hear me?
No,
That's
brother.
Brother Mark.
Okay. I mean,
Brother
thank
Mark.
you, brother. Oh, that's brother Mark McPhee.
Yeah,
That's right there.
that's
Yeah,
you know that.
yeah.
You, brother, I met you during
Right,
walk
yeah. Do the walk, and
I
we met somewhere else too.
of God. Even
Yeah.
with a stroke, I was there, brother.
That's right.
right.
Definitely appreciated that. But
Yeah,
yeah, I
he
have
walked
information. If somebody want to reach out to you, I don't know if y'all could put it up. I can give my work number. Even if you're from Harlem, Brooklyn, Bronx, Queens, it doesn't matter. I can link you directly to where you need to go to get help through these home-based services. And you know, as far as me just being from Brooklyn, I'm from Brooklyn, I'm from Harlem, I'm from, I'm from all the way. I'm universal, God, you know what I'm saying? So I ain't limited to no one area. I lived in every borough, and I feel like
even Staten Island.
no, I just did a lot of dirt in Staten Island.
Yo, I got to Staten Island, man. What's
But I ain't
going
gonna keep
on
that
in
there.
Staten Island? Yo, I've been in Killer Hill Projects, 160, 260 building. Listen, we listen.
Oh
All
man,
5 boroughs I've been in, bro.
I don't even want to speak about what I used to go to Staten Island to do. That's behind me,
That's behind you.
Yo, but
Yeah, that's
thanks for
behind me.
calling in. Thanks for
Thanks for
calling in. I'm
calling,
gonna
brother.
reach out to you soon. And listen, when we got the jacket for you. We got the jacket for you. It's gonna be coming in this week. As soon as we bring it to you, we want you to take some pictures. We might have to do a photo shoot with all the OGs.
Right.
With that,
Yeah.
you with that? Oh, he must have
Yeah,
went
with
off.
that.
Yeah,
Huh?
he heard you.
Okay.
Other brothers to get their coats also.
No, Reggie got his coat. Robert Hart got his coat, and your coat is coming this week. And I'm trying to get my brother Prince Rondu in a coat as soon as possible too.
Ain't no try. You say you had my coat, man.
I got it.
Sold my coat, man.
No, we didn't.
All right, peace out. I'll speak to you soon.
All right, peace.
All right, peace, brother.
Yo, so look,
Yeah.
we really wanted to have you on here to talk about this housing assistance program because we know people are going through it, but we also wanted to have you on here to say that we see you and we salute you, brother. You my
Yes,
brother,
brother.
man. And I understand, that we are doing a lot of things, but we always got to come back to the table, right?
That's right.
We always got to bring it back because the cipher always comes back around. That's what I was always
That's
taught.
right.
So we
Yep.
always bring everything right back to the table.
Bring it back.
And all of the things that you are involved in, I recently made a deal also dealing with wholesale and real estate that I want to bring to the table so that you can understand how to do and partake of too. So
Yes,
a bunch of
most
things that
definitely.
we all got to talk about. We all got to have a roundtable meeting in the near future. And we have the capabilities, my brother. I'm a firm believer that we have the capabilities with a group of the people that we have been around over these last 10, 15 years
Do something
that we
phenomenal.
can create something bananas, man. Like better than the top 500 Fortune 500 company, better than the top nonprofit organization. We can take this thing to the next level.
True indeed.
What's your thoughts on that?
Yeah, I most definitely echo them sentiments, man, because we have so much to give. Like, you know, everything that we've done, man. I've watched brothers that's down the struggle come home. Brothers got masters, brothers got businesses, brothers got, you know, their own organizations going on. It's a lot going on. Brothers have a lot of academic achievements going on. So if we can pool our resources, come together under, you know, one common cause to change everything around and to change these dynamics, man, that'll be a great thing, man. We got people with bachelors, with masters in social work and public affairs and KSAC and substance abuse, and like it's just, you know, we all over the place, man. And I definitely applaud, you know, everybody who, you know, was down in the struggles and came home and just kept that mental fortitude to keep pushing in that positive direction. And that brings me to you, like, you know, me and you have had so many discussions, academic stimulation, mental stimulation, that I really appreciate you for. I always tell you that all the time. Like, and you know, to watch you, you know, come home and, you know, do the things that you are doing. Like every time I look around, every time I see, sometimes I get tight because I be like, how the hell, why I always gotta learn what this guy is doing through Facebook and this social media? You supposed to be hitting me. Like, I'll be like, man, but you came home, you found a beautiful queen, she was on the right project, you know, right, you know, direction with the domestic violence and everything that she's doing. I see y'all all the time. I always tell y'all, I salute y'all. Like, you know, y'all definitely became like one of the most prominent power figure, you know, power couple figures out here that's on the right track and doing a part. I definitely salute y'all. I thank y'all for having me on here. And, you know, it's definitely all love. I'm so super proud of y'all. Every time I'm looking, I'm seeing y'all this way, they're doing this and doing it. I'm like, oh, they everywhere. They just lit. Yeah, and that's peace. And that's good that, you know, a lot of times we get complacent and we rest on our laurels when we have a goal, you know, to reach a certain point. But the important part is when you start to achieve some type of sort of success, you know what I'm saying? You don't put yourself up and measure that success. You don't measure that success. You keep pushing as if that end goal was never achieved, or that you know, like I ain't do nothing. Like, yeah, I did all this, but really I ain't do nothing. That's how sometimes I be feeling, because, you know, I was still doing the whole program coordinator thing with it, but a lot of times just feel like, you know, for fear, I'm like, I'm stuck now. I'm like, you know, everybody saying, oh, you're doing this, you're doing that, you said, but inside of me, I said, you ain't doing enough. You know what I'm saying? So that's what keeps me pushing. That's what keep me want to keep pushing. And, you know, I salute y'all for everything. I'm just super proud of y'all. You know, with the work that y'all doing is super dope, for real.
Thank you. Well, I want to say, no, I want to say thank you for that point, because
the OG
somebody
right
gets who
Who that, the OG?
here. Take your mask
I
off.
know you.
Come in the picture, man.
Oh, that's Big Pop Dukes.
That's the OG right there.
Yo, Pop Dukes clean. Yo, just listen. Teach me how to tie a tie. Let me be as sharp as you, Pop Dukes.
Okay.
I said, one day you gotta teach me to be sharp as you, Pop Dukes. You remind me of my pops. Always sharp with the tie, the suits, and everything, suited and booted to the nines, man. Salute to the OG.
I guess I understood what you just said.
He said suited and booted. He's like, what? Well, I want to say thank you for that last piece that you said, because I get told that I'm doing too much, even though it just woo, the whole concept of the clothing line. I want to push that as much as I can because we want to change that narrative from
Mm-hmm.
calling me a nigga or calling me that B word to call me a queen, or call me, for
Call
you
me
guys,
king.
call
Yeah.
call me king, because at the end of the day, when you feel a certain way about yourself, just like the bullying aspect. So if somebody's like, you already feeling down about yourself, you already feeling hurt and pain and all of this stuff going on, and somebody be like, hey, hey, nigga, you're
Yeah.
gonna feel like enough is enough. You're ready to explode. But if somebody
Mm-hmm.
said, hey, peace queen, peace king, you like, damn, I am that, right?
Yeah.
So the clothing line is to just change the narrative. Let's start talking peace to each other, positive words to one another. That's why I got the book called I Am Phenomenal, because we
Mm-hmm.
are, so I just, my whole mindset of changing how we speak to one another. Language is everything, and y'all know that language means it takes you to another
Yes.
level on how you feel about yourself. So
Mm-hmm.
I want to thank everybody for, excuse me, purchasing the Call Me King, that nigga jacket, sweater, well, sweater, somebody had on a sweater the other day, um and as well as the shirts I'm working on. My sister was like, when you gonna get the female stuff going? The female design for Call Me Queen is out there. I just gotta find out what I would like to put it on for us to promote that. But thank y'all for purchasing those coats.
Mm-hmm.
To, I don't want to call them OGs, but thank you to the people in the community. I definitely appreciate that.
No doubt.
We should call them OGs because we don't want to call them old people, right? And that's from our generation. A OG is somebody that you look up to and respect. That's in the
Mm-hmm.
generation before you. You understand what I'm saying? So we call them OGs. And my brother Uncle Mark Rafi, he always wear the OG piece on his neck. So I always these is the OGs. So salute to the OGs,
Mhm.
but salute to
And
my
you
OG
know what?
right here.
And you know what's important about the OGs, the original gangsters. Right? We ain't really focusing on no gangster word, but the OGs is original gangsters. Most times back in the day, when you had a certain youth that was coming up, that was talented, had skills, had real promise in life, the OGs would shield that person. Make sure, like, listen, nah, you're not getting
Mhm.
involved with this. Yo, go to school. Make sure you do this. Make sure you
Mhm.
do that. Nah. We're gonna protect you to make sure because we see potential in you. But now it's like the ones that's OGs that's like in this era coming up like for the past 20 years they call OGs and stuff like that. A lot of them don't promote that. You know what I'm saying? So it's important to
Mhm.
understand that, this is what the original OGs did. They protected the
Mhm.
youth. They made sure the youth that were talented and who were coming up in the right way stayed on the right path as much as they did, as much as they can. You know?
That's peace.
Mm. That's
So
dope.
once again, we had the brother Prince Rondu, Thaddeus Prince Rondu Canty. He's with RiseBoro. He's the assistant director of outreach and programs. If you want to get some rental assistance, please reach out to them. Where can they find you at?
They can call me directly at 347-831-3939, or they can email me at tcanty@riseboro.org.
That's
Mm.
peace. So
Yeah.
salute to you, OG. Thanks for coming on.
No
Yo,
doubt. Thanks for having me. I appreciate y'all. Thanks for having me. Definitely much appreciated.
and we gonna link up soon, all right?
All right, brother. Okay.
Peace.
All right.
All
Peace.
right.
Wow. That was great information that was
Definitely.
needed, and like Brother Mark said, there's going to be people that's going to be hitting him up and say, hey, do you have some information? Brother Mark, if you still listening, Tell them to go on our site, the Speaking Mind podcast with the Ali's. Just give them that information, because at the end of the day, you should not have to drop all these tools to them, because guess what? People will always come to you when they know that you have the information. If you
Right.
sat in, you was that student that sat in, right? So now you have all the other people around you who wants to play, who wants to do this, who don't want to pay attention to the teacher, but they always want to come to you and have you to do the homework. Don't do the homework. Just give them this site to go to and have them listen just the same way you did.
So with that, subscribe to our channel, Speak Your Mind Podcast with the Ali's on YouTube, and hit the notification bell so you could get, a notification that we're having a show. But we're here most Sundays at 12 p.m. Some Sundays we can't come on because we have other things going on. Like last week, we were filming a domestic violence commercial for We Are Phenomenal Women. But most Sundays we will be here at 12 p.m. with the Speak Your Mind podcast with the Ali's. We also stream live to the God I Be on Facebook. Also, the I Am Phenomenal Unlimited business page. Like our page on Facebook. We definitely going to bring some more things to you in the near future. We're doing consulting as far as program development and actual facilitation of programs, because my wife, she has actually designed a program for domestic violence 101. We also have anger management programs, and also I am a recovery coach trainer, so I could train you in the Recovery Coach Academy. So please reach out to I Am Phenomenal Unlimited for all your consulting services. We also facilitate different classes, and we're doing merchandising, as we already spoke about. Call Me King Not Nigga is out now. Call Me Queen Not B is out now. We also have t-shirts, honor her, support her, various t-shirts you can buy, and we do some Black inspirational things as well. We was at the Black Business Expo in Pennsylvania. Where's that? Wilkes-Barre, Pennsylvania.
Mm-hmm.
We just trying to do as much as possible. And as I said, I'm coming to you soon with a new business venture, which is the wholesaling real estate game with my man Hakeem Herring from Partner Up. Definitely, man, tap in with that brother. Our last interview was with that brother. He talked about the Partner Up program and how to wholesale real estate. Tap into that, because we need wealth within our communities. We need to detach from the plantation, man. We need multiple streams of income, as Uncle Mark just said, multiple streams of income, whether it's 3 passive and 4 active, or 5 passive and 2 active, whatever. You just need multiple streams of income so that you can make sure when it's a pandemic and things like this going on, that you have another stream of income to tap into. So
Wait, well, before you close up, I do know you took those classes over the weekend. How was that? Can you tap into a little bit of that? So let people know that you are actively doing it.
well, let me tell you something, right? One thing I learned, right? Nowadays, when they say the game is to be sold, not to be told, I understand what they're saying. It's not saying something like, like I'm too good to give you this information. No, because I'm giving it to you freely and you're not utilizing it. So if you want this information, you're going to have to seek this information. Our last podcast, the brother came up and he gave the basis of the whole wholesaling paradigm on how to actually make money without money down and without a real estate license off of real estate. And he said, listen, if you tuned into the podcast today, we're giving you a 3-day masterclass where you will be able to learn everything about wholesaling and be able to start your own business within a month's time. Did people tap in? Some did, some didn't. But if you want this information, you're going to have to either reach out to I Am Phenomenal unlimited@gmail.com, or reach out to my brother Hakeem Herring and find out how you could detach from getting a check to actually being one that signs a check. So with that, I say peace, but we definitely want to end with a drop, and we need drops from my brother Prince Rondu. We need a drop from my brother, my uncle, Mark Lafitte. Put some respect on his name. Peace
There
to
you
the
go.
uncle.
Strong and publisher of Thoughts magazines for men and women. Hey guys, Naja Howard here, president of Young Men Strong and publisher of Thoughts magazines for men and women. I'm asking you guys to please join Speak Your Mind podcast with the Ali's every Sunday afternoon at 12 o'clock. Peace. Hey guys, Naja Howard here, president of Young Men Strong and publisher of Thoughts magazines for men and women.
Peace. Brought to you by I Am Phenomenal Unlimited. This is the Speak Your Mind podcast, hosted by the Queen, Shanice Gatewood Ali, and the God, I Be. Speak Your Mind, an open line podcast delves into the week's current events, trending topics, and the social issues that affect Black people in America.